What up? Hello, everybody. How are we? Happy Wednesday. Right? It's Wednesday. Yeah, it's Wednesday. Yeah, it's hump day. See how we do that? Happy hump day. I hope everybody is well. And this is Get Your News On with Ron. Right on time these days. My schedule's a little different for a temporary period, so that enables me to be right on time. Not early, not late. Just boom, right at 10. Right at 10 a.m. How convenient is that? Very is the answer. Very convenient. What's up, Jinxana? How are you? What's up, Mike? Hello, A. Happy morning. If you're in the time zone as me, happy morning. If you're in a different times, if you're in the Eastern time zone, happy lunchtime. What better time to get your news on than when you're having lunch? When you're like, oh, I want some food. I'll see what's going on in the world. This won't turn my stomach at all. What's up, Susan? No notification. Bummer. That sucks. That is lame. What's up, Edwin? Good to see ya. Lucy is here. She's been a little needy this morning. I'm up. As I told you guys, I'm working on that campaign, so I have been up earlier than usual. And because of that, Lucy has also been up earlier than usual. And now she's kind of she's chill and she wants to just sort of hang out for a little bit. But I'm trying not to alter her schedule. You know, I'm keeping earlier hours now because of the campaign I'm working on. And, you know, she's adjusted some too. But I don't want to mess with her food schedule too much because eventually the campaign will end and I will not be getting up as early. And if she's used to getting up super early, that might not be fun. You get the idea. Chris Walker, what's up? Good to see you again. Good morning, Ron and Lucy. Glad I could make a live stream. Watched yesterday after work. Love the new set additions. Thank you. Just a new camera, adjusting, working with the lighting a little bit. Let's see. What's up, Anna? What's up, Jedi? Woo. Matching shirts with Lucy, always. What am I running for? I'm not running for anything. I'm working on a campaign with an organization called Fight for the Future. It's a campaign for net neutrality. We're going to have the website launched really soon, but for now, hold the date of June 11th. June 11th, we're doing a day-wide day of action for net neutrality. I'll be able to make a formal announcement really soon. But for now, June 11th. Mark your calendars. Don't let it leave. But I'm not running for anything. The lighting is much better, Ron. Your studio looks great. Edwin, thank you so much. You have warmed my heart. And Anna, I know, Lucy just bounced. She heard us talking about her, and then she bounced. That's lame. And Chris, thank you for watching the ad all the way through. What's up, Cappuccino Conservative? Greetings, comrade. Good to see ya. So yeah, I'm working on a campaign with Fight for the Future. That's why I'm so punctual. Usually we're early. Sometimes we're a little late. But as of me working on this campaign, we're probably going to be starting exactly at 10. And we're going to be really punctual with the show, which is fun. I'm happy about that. And I have my water. I know that my coffee and my water is visible. Some of y'all have expressed concerns that I might knock over the glass. Valid concern. Valid concern. I'm with you. By the way, I forgot to do this yesterday. I forgot to do the song of the day yesterday. For those of you that were here yesterday was a little crazy. That was my first day on this campaign. So I'm working on this campaign from now until June 11th. And it's a campaign for net neutrality. We're going to do an all-day live stream, day of action for net neutrality on June 11th. I'm stoked. But anyway, yesterday was the first day. So we're trying to get everything launched, trying to get everything together. So I got held up in a few things and could not stream at my regular time. Yeah. So that's what happened. So our live stream started way late today. Things are a little more kind of in place. Taking a break for the live stream. Then I'm going to get back to it. Yeah, exciting times. I'm stoked. It's going to be good stuff. But anyway, the song of the day, this was submitted by Aaron. And the song of the day is a track called Jeremy Parker by the Swirlies. Now, Swirlies, I've always heard the name around. Never took the time to check it out. But it's really good, fun, 90s sludge pop rock and roll music. I don't know why I've never checked them out as much as I've wanted to. It's just one of those things. They're on the list, but there's so many bands from that era. And but Aaron emailed me, and he's like, hey, I like all that stuff too. He heard me talk about a couple other bands from that era, and he's like, for a song of the day, how about Swirly's Jeremy Parker? It's a great track. Check out Swirly's Jeremy Parker. Check it out on Spotify, on YouTube. It's a fantastic track. Sorry I forgot to do the song of the day yesterday. And y'all have been submitting some songs to me, which I really appreciate. Please keep those coming. If you want to submit a song to me for Song of the Day, go to ronplacone.com. Contact me there. You can go to my website, ronplacone.com. There's a contact tab. You can just fill out that form. That email goes straight to me. Straight to me. How cool is that? All right. So we are just about at 30. Ron, do you ever listen to hip-hop? Yes, I do. Absolutely, yes, I do. I most certainly listen to hip-hop. And, yeah. Music Monday on a Wednesday. We do a song of the day every day. Let's see. I never asked, did you get a chance to listen to all those songs I tweeted at you? Email them to me instead. I might have not gotten them, but email them to me instead. That's better. So ronplacone.com, send them to me. Yes, I have heard of the Tragically Hip. I most certainly have. Send me a song, and we'll do it for Song of the Day. You guys know the drill there. We are officially over 30. Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. I am Ron Placone, your host. Got a new setup here. It's a new camera. Everything's new. Still working out the kinks. I know sometimes like the autofocus, I got to get that straightened away. But this is all new equipment. I'm still learning it. I'm still figuring it out. I'm experimenting with the lighting. I'm experimenting with the placement. You get the idea. But working with some new stuff, which, by the way, I have this new stuff because of you, the patrons. I would not have this without you and without your general support of this show. So thank you all very, 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 very much. We're continuing to expand and increase things here over at Get Your News On with Ron. All right. So we got a lot going on today. You guys have sent a lot of stuff. We're not going to get to all of it, but we are going to get to some of it. And here's a pretty rough story to start out the day. And this comes from Caitlin Johnstone, who I am a fan of. Julian Assange is reportedly gravely ill, and hardly anyone's talking about it. This, of course, comes on the news. You guys have likely already heard that he was allegedly hospitalized. So here's an update. Julian Assange's Swedish lawyer, Pearl Samuelsson, has told the press that Assange's health condition on Friday was such that it was not possible to conduct a normal conversation with him. This jarring revelation has been reported by a small handful of outlets, but only as an aside in relation to Sweden refusing Samuelsson's request for a postponement of a scheduled hearing regarding Assange's detention. All right. As of this writing, this is Caitlin Johnstone speaking, I've been able to find very few news outlets reporting on this at all. The most mainstream being a Reuters article with the very tame headline, Swedish court rejects delay of Assange hearing over ill health. The Sydney Morning Herald also covered the story without even mentioning illness in the headline. So here's an update on the hospitalization part. Another part of this story, this is from the article, which has gone completely uncovered in all English language media as of this writing, is the news that Assange has actually been transferred to the hospital wing of Belmarsh Prison. This was reported by the Swedish outlet Uppsala Nya Tidning. I'm sure I mispronounced that. A newspaper published in the same district court Assange is scheduled to call in to for his hearing. So here's from that article. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange's Swedish lawyer wants the arrest hearing on Monday in Uppsala to be postponed. According to the lawyer, who has now visited his client in British prison, Assange is admitted to the medical department and was unable to make a call. Last Friday, Assange's Swedish defender, lawyer Per E. Samuelsson, visited his client in prison. In a letter to Uppsala District Court, the lawyer says that they met for just under 2 hours. According to the lawyer, Assange's state of health at the meeting was such that a normal conversation with him was not possible. Assange is said to have been taken to the prison's ward. I'm assuming they mean hospital. But there is no more detailed information about his state of health. So here's Caitlin Johnstone speaking again. I've emailed Per Samuelsson with a request to confirm the news that Assange has been hospitalized. I'll update this article if I hear back. From Caitlin Moore. For Assange's supporters, one of the many frustrating things about his imprisonment has been the way he's been cut off from the usual means which used to inform the public about his well-being. It used to be that news reports could be easily confirmed or refuted by people who had consistent access to Assange in some way by sources like the WikiLeaks Twitter account. But the people who operate that account don't have ready access to him anymore. Now we're seeing all sorts of rumors circulating about how Assange is faring in prison, and it gets difficult to sort out fact from fiction. It appears that it would be difficult to find a more reliable source on the state of his own health than his own lawyer, however. So, this is, again, kind of more of the same. They cut off Assange from information. They cut off his ability to deliver information. So everything we get in regards to him, we're just getting secondhand, and we're waiting. We're waiting to hear from things, and barely any media is reporting on this. Hardly any media is reporting on Julian Assange. It's been that way for a while. Even when he was taken from the embassy in London, only a few media outlets actually stuck around to see him be taken away. Our RT was one of them. There were a handful of others. Most just kind of bounced. If it wasn't for some of that footage, what little footage people got, we would have had no source of information on that. None whatsoever. So that's continuing to happen. Now, allegedly, he's been hospitalized. We've only heard so much. We've just heard something indirect from his own lawyer that pretty much one outlet is talking about. All other outlets are just sort of either glossing over it or ignoring it entirely. So, once again, we don't know what's going on with him. And this entire case is a complete assault on press freedom, and you have to ask yourself, why are they keeping us in the dark? Well, we know why. We know why. Because if people really knew what was going on, there would be a lot more outrage. And slowly but surely, folks are starting to come around to the fact that this is not okay, what's happening. This is a true assault on press freedom. This is a gross overreach and abuse of power by the United States. And that's putting it gently. That's putting it gently. I mean, there's a lot of other words that come to mind. And when I say, I've done a couple visuals for Julian Assange, they have those online visuals to try to increase the awareness on this, to try to, to try to have some better action on a part of governments. And, it's hard to put into words. Watching this happen in real time. Watch what's happening to Julian Assange in real time. Watch what's happening to Chelsea Manning in real time. And know what's going on. Know that this is an assault to whistleblowers. This is an assault to press freedom. This is a message from the powerful saying, hey, are you thinking of exposing some war crimes? Are you thinking of exposing some injustice? Are you thinking of exposing cheating in our election process? Well, guess what? I wouldn't if I were you. That's what this is. And we've seen this theme time and time again, where we're being kept in the dark, where we're trying to seek information. And if it wasn't for the blogosphere, if it wasn't for activists, if it wasn't for people trying to get as close as they can on the ground, we would have access to even less information than we have now. So to call this a complete failure on every level by the corporate media is an understatement. It's been a gross failure. And you know what? Maybe I shouldn't call it a failure because it's by design. It's not that they're not aware of Julian Assange. They're not reporting on it on purpose. And when they do report on it, it's heavily sugar-coated or heavily cherry-picked. And they're very deliberate in their messaging. So, once again, to quote Tom Petty, the waiting is the hardest part. And once again, here we have another update on Julian Assange where we're kind of in the dark on a lot of things and we're waiting for a lot more to unfold. Typical theme. And as of the recording of this, that's where we're at. Allegedly, he's been hospitalized. We're waiting to find out more. All right. So, this is from Tim. North Korea calls John Bolton a war maniac who is wrecking peace and security across the globe. So, North Korea accurately describes John Bolton. You know, what if we found out that all of his warmongering was contained in his mustache? What if all we had to do was just shave John Bolton's mustache and he'd be like, oh, wars? We gotta end them. What if, like, we just shave his mustache and all of a sudden Give Peace a Chance by John Lennon just starts playing and a rainbow pops up and then Here Comes the Sun comes on. And then Unity by Operation Ivy pops up. Stop this war. And John Bolton's like, yeah, I feel totally different. I don't know what's changed. And it was all because of his mustache. Free the mustache. Bring about the peace. That's what it takes. I doubt there's anything to that theory. I mean, we can't disprove it. We don't know. He might be a huge peacenik, and if you shave his mustache, peace be with you, says John Bolton. Not in the religious way, in the world way. Like, hey, we're going to end all the wars. And he's just going to be like, peace be with you. Maybe it's all in the mustache. I mean, there's probably not much water to this theory. But, we may as well try. John Bolton, shave your mustache. Anyone close to John Bolton, if you're watching the show, I'm sure you're not. Why would anybody close to John Bolton watch a show like this? It makes zero sense. But just in case that is happening, see if you can get him to shave his mustache. And if he does, maybe, just maybe, he's not going to be, as North Korea accurately describes him, a war maniac. After all, it will be fit to call Bolton not a security advisor striving for security, but a security-destroying advisor. And there he is, and there is that warmongering mustache. All right, so North Korea on Monday, this is the article, called U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton a war maniac who is undermining global security and diplomacy after Bolton accused North Korea of violating international law with missile launches earlier this month. Our military drill neither targeted anyone nor endangered the surrounding countries, but Bolton makes dogged claims that it constitutes a violation, impudently poking his nose into others' internal matters. Because keep in mind, it's fine when we fly fighter jets into territory we shouldn't be. It's fine when we have ships in international waters where we shouldn't in an intimidating fashion. It's fine that we have military bases all over the world. I mean, you have to ask the question, who's intimidating whom? And you get your answer. I'm certainly not saying the government of North Korea is perfect. Of course it isn't. Far from it. But when you look at what the U.S. does around the world and what people like John Bolton are doing around the world, we're not the good guys here. We're not the good guys. And by the way, friendly reminder, there can be a situation where there's no good guys. That's a real situation. Life is not a superhero movie. Life is not a feel-good story. There can be a situation where there are no good guys. And when it comes to our military pursuits across the world, there are no good guys. What our government is doing, we are not the good guys. We are just pillaging in pursuit of resources. And we've built an economy around war. And we're sending our brothers and sisters off to fight these pointless wars that we shouldn't be in, that are just padding the pockets of CEOs and billionaires and high-ranking officials and defense contractors. That's all it's doing. And here you have North Korea accurately describing John Bolton as a war maniac, which he is. All right, so let's get back to the article, see what else is going on in here. It is not a mere coincidence that criticisms are now being heard in the U.S. that Bolton is a warmonger, whispering war to the president when he himself evaded military service. This is from the statement. After all, it will be fit to call Bolton not a security advisor, striving for security, but a security-destroying advisor who is wrecking peace and security. So he really does fit in with the Trump administration in this regard. They have an education director who's destroying education. They have a housing director who's not doing shit for housing. They have an EPA director who is set on destroying the environment. They have a security advisor who is set on destroying the planet and all other countries and our security. So that's typical of the Trump administration. You know, you put people in charge of things so they can destroy it. They came up with the AHCA bill that destroys healthcare. Hey, we have a healthcare bill. What does it do? It takes healthcare away from millions of people. Isn't that like an anti-healthcare bill? Yeah, but fuck it. We don't give a shit. That's what the AHCA should really be called. The Anti-Healthcare Act. That's what it should be called. Anti-Healthcare Act. All right, but let's see if there's anything more to Johnny B here. Does anyone call him Johnny B? Maybe what happens is that if he shaves his mustache, he becomes a peacenik. And he goes, please, call me Johnny B. And you're like, really? Johnny? And he's like, yep, Johnny B. That's my name. Don't wear it out. I am Johnny B, the peacenik. Stop these wars. And we're like, man, that mustache. With the mustache, he's John Bolton. With the no mustache, he is peacenik Johnny B. Let's find out. I mean, hey, we might as well try. I mean, it couldn't make things worse. If you shave his mustache, oh, he's still a warmongering maniac. So, we have nothing to lose, but potentially things to gain. All right, let's see. Okay, so the exchange between Bolton and North Korea comes as Bolton continues to escalate military tensions and threaten regime change in Iran and Venezuela. The North Korean official alluded to Bolton's belligerence towards these countries in the statement on Monday. So here's that quote. Bolton stood in the forefront of leading the Iraqi war and abrogating the Intermediate-Range Nuclear Forces Treaty that has served to ensure peace in Europe for decades, and he is now gaining notoriety as a warmonger for his obsession with other wars in the Middle East and South America. And how many of those wars have been justified? How many of those wars have been successful? Zero. And they weren't successful because there wasn't really an option for success. It was just set up to make the rich richer and screw everybody else while destroying countries. All right. Such a weird way to end. Johnny B. Shave the mustache for the peacenik Johnny B. End the segment there, Joe. I like that. All right. Okay. So, here's an update. So, we've talked about this on the show before. We've talked about AT&T. Hey, Ajit Pai, when he repealed net neutrality, he said, hey, this is going to help jobs. We have done some updates. It didn't do that. AT&T is actually laying people off of their jobs. They're losing jobs. And other cable companies are as well. Well, here's an update on some numbers. So AT&T promised 7,000 new jobs to get a tax break. It cut 23,000 jobs instead. And they also cut capital spending. So AT&T has cut more than 23,000 jobs. This is from Azteca. Since receiving a big tax cut at the end of 2017. So they lobbied for this tax cut. They lobbied for a tax cut. They said, give us this tax cut. They got the tax cut. Because Trump, just gave things away to corporations. We know that he passed that horrible tax bill. And what are they doing with that tax cut that they promised would bring jobs? They're cutting jobs. More than 23,000. So AT&T in November 2017 pushed for the corporate tax cut by promising to invest an additional $1 billion in 2018. Every $1 billion AT&T invests is 7,000 hard hat jobs. These are not entry-level jobs. These are 7,000 jobs of people putting fiber in the ground, hard hat jobs that make 70 to 80 grand per year. The corporate tax cut was subsequently passed by Congress and signed into law by President Trump on December 22nd, 2017, right before the holidays. Happy holidays, corporations. Everybody else, guess what? Your tax bill's going to be higher. And you're going to wonder why. Because I screwed ya. Working class, remember when I said I had your back? That, just like everything else I said, was a freaking lie. You bought the snake oil. Hopefully in 2020, we don't have the option of nothing or snake oil. Hopefully we get better choices than that. We might not. I sure as hell hope we do. We might not. And this new camera, so I'm having some autofocus issues today. I apologize. I am seeing that here in the software here. Again, I'm for anyone tuning in a little later, I'm experimenting with new lighting, new angles. I got some new equipment. I got a new camera. I got some new like connectors and stuff like that. You can tell I'm not a tech guy, but by the fact that I use the word connector. But anyway, I'm experimenting with some stuff and getting everything situated here. So I do apologize. We're having some autofocus issues with the camera today, a little more so than usual. But all right, getting back to this. Now, keep in mind, don't fall for the lies that they're going to feed you. This is an important, here's a couple important paragraphs. So AT&T cut capital spending and kept laying people off after the tax cut. So they did the complete opposite of what they said they were going to do. But AT&T's total employment was 254,000 as of December 31st, 2017, and rose to 262,290 by March 31st, 2019. But this is important. AT&T's overall workforce increased only because of its acquisition of Time Warner Inc., which together added 31,618 employees during 2018. So when they come at you and they're like, we've increased jobs, they're lying. They're fudging the numbers. What really happened is, yeah, there's more employees total because you merged, but you didn't actually increase your workforce. It's like, I have company X, and I get this big tax cut to invest in my company. What do I do instead? I spend less money, and I lay 10 people off. I have 30 employees. I lay off 10 of them. I have 20 employees now, and I'm cutting money. So I pocketed that tax break. And then I acquire another company. They also have 20 employees. So I'm like, hey, I did what I said I was going to do. I have 40 employees now. Dishonest, right? Yes. But this is what AT&T is going to try to do. They're going to be like, oh, see, we expanded our workforce. No, you didn't. You merged. And again, this was another horrible merger that shouldn't be happening. T-Mobile and Sprint, I believe, are trying to merge. All of these mergers are horrible. They are horrible in regards to a free and open internet, because these are all the companies that want to price gouge you and destroy net neutrality. They're waiting for net neutrality to go away completely. They're waiting for those court battles to end so that they can start price gouging the internet even more than they already do, so that they can have paid prioritization. So, and again, the article points out that they slash funding too. So this is another example of a lie from Ajit Pai. A lie from Ajit Pai. That rhymes. Has a nice ring to it. He said that broadband would increase. There'd be more jobs. That's a lie. It's happening the complete opposite all across the board. He said we get rid of net neutrality. There'd be more. That has not happened. Also, AT&T and other similar companies. AT&T is not the only culprit. They lobbied Trump for this tax break, saying they'd invest it in their workforce. They did the complete opposite. They cut spending and cut their workforce. So this is more of the corporatocracy just straight up lying to get what they want. They're not delivering on their empty promises. and they are facing absolutely no consequences for it because they have both parties in our government by the gullet. We have one party, it's the money party, and the donor class rules our electoral system. Happy Hump Day! All right, let's move on. Okay. So this takes us to Illinois, and Christina shares this. She shared a different article, but it was a little earlier this week, and I hadn't gotten to it, so we pulled up a more updated one as of right now. But here's what's going on in Illinois in regards to abortion. Illinois House passes abortion rights bill. As other states pass increasingly restrictive abortion bans, Illinois passed sweeping abortion right protections. All right, let's see what's going on here. This takes us to Springfield, Illinois, home of The Simpsons. Actually, we're not clear where that Springfield is, right? I mean, I think they say it's Illinois, I believe. Somebody let me know in the chat. Pretty sure it's supposed to be but it's not an actual real Springfield, but I think they loosely hint that it could be in Illinois on The Simpsons. I don't remember. I know that Family Guy is Rhode Island. They do say that. Anyway, getting to this. Springfield, Illinois. On the same day as Missouri's last abortion clinic announced it may close, legislators in Illinois House passed a sweeping abortion rights bill. The Illinois House voted 64-50 Tuesday in favor of Senate Bill 25, which creates the Reproductive Health Act and removes some restrictions on later-term abortions. The bill, which now heads to the Senate, repeals both the Partial Birth Abortion Ban Act and the 1975 Illinois abortion law, a set of restrictions that are already not enforced due to court injunctions. The legislation replaces the 1975 Act with a new law that will remove measures that call for spousal consent, waiting periods of criminal penalties for doctors who perform abortions. Tuesday's vote came after an emotional debate on the House floor. Downstate Republican Representative Avery Byrne, who is pregnant, criticized the bill, calling it a massive expansion that will impact viable babies. Viable babies. That, first of all, would be a cool band name. But viable babies. Like, they're like, this could be a viable baby. And again, if we keep going, eventually they're just going to outlaw. They're going to outlaw masturbation because, you know, like especially for a guy, when you do your thing and then you have something to show for it, well, that's a viable baby. That thing you're wiping off your hand with a toilet paper, that's a viable baby. That's a viable baby. You're just scraping off the earth right there. That's what you're doing. Viable baby. Good band name. Good band name. For like a pro-choice punk band. Good band name. By the way, a topic we need to do is, and we'll do this at a later date. We don't have time to do it today. But I talked about how I think that I'm not using the term pro-life anymore. Actually, you know what? We can do this today. We'll revisit this as a topic for today before we end the show. But anyway, getting back to this article. All right, so meanwhile, pro-choice activists dressed as handmaids from The Handmaid's Tale sat in the chamber as the bill was debated. Interesting. Today, Illinois says we're better than this war on women. Illinois says we trust women. State Rep. Kelly Cassidy, the legislation's chief sponsor in the House, said. The House vote comes as other states pass increased restrictions and bans on abortions. Governor J.B. Pritzker issued a statement on Tuesday in support of the bill and applauded Cassidy, saying, as a lifelong advocate of a women's right to choose, I applaud the House for passing the Reproductive Health Care Act and urge the Senate to take swift action on this critical piece of legislation. I echo that sentiment. I'm glad to see it pass the House. I hope the Senate takes action in the positive immediately. That's awesome. All right, let's go to one more story, and then, I have a brief topic that I'm going to, Sorry. That was weird. Yeah, I got a brief topic. Yeah. All right, so Biden, we're going to go to Joe Biden. The media report that Biden's campaign suffers from enthusiasm gap. See, what they mean by that is that over here is the concept of enthusiasm. And then there's a gap. And then after that gap is Joe Biden. He has an enthusiasm gap because he is the actual opposite of enthusiasm. And you may have noticed Joe Biden's not doing any campaigns. And I have a theory, or he's not doing any events, rather. He's doing a campaign. He's not doing any events. Slip of the tongue. Joe Biden's not really doing any events. He's not really showing up. He's not really doing much. I have a theory as to why that is. I think it's because his campaign knows that the more he talks, the less people like him. That he is incapable of winning more people and winning more votes. Remember what happened the last time somebody with that same predicament ran against Donald Trump. Just remember what happened. Hillary Clinton, same boat. The more she talked, the less people liked her. The less people wanted to support her. That's why she didn't bother going to Michigan. She didn't bother going to Wisconsin. She had only things to lose by going there, probably. Or at least that's what they calculated. They're calculating the same thing for Joe Biden. They're saying it's because, well, he just doesn't have to work as hard because of name recognition. Do you really think that Joe Biden's campaign staff doesn't see the attendance Bernie is getting? And I know that the case can be made that they're very tone deaf in many ways, and I'm sure that's the case. But they're campaigners running a presidential campaign that have presumably been doing the work for a long, long time. They do, at the very least, know how to look at other campaigns and see what's going on. Anyone with half a brain who's running a campaign where your big competitor is Bernie Sanders, you would look at Bernie's attendance. You would look at the enthusiasm around said candidate, and you would say, holy shit, we got to get our asses out there. No campaigner would say, we just don't have to work as hard. It's easy. Hey, that other dude's filling up a stadium. Yeah. Nobody. No, it's not even pride at that point. It's just you're completely clueless. So no, I think what's really going on, they know what Bernie's doing, but they know that Joe Biden, the more he talks, the less people like him. So if you keep him in holding for as long as frickin' possible, you are better off. They know that. And again, remember what happened the last time somebody with that same predicament went up against Donald Trump. We all know what happened. And the same thing is likely to happen again. I don't think Biden would beat Trump. All right, so there you go. Biden has an enthusiasm gap because he is the opposite of enthusiasm. Joe, end the clip there. So, guys, I tweeted something a while ago. Since we had an abortion story, I tweeted something a while ago, and I said that I am no longer using the term pro-life. Like, I'm just not going to say it anymore because there's nothing, quote-unquote, pro-life about that movement. I'm calling it anti-choice. That's what it is. And I'm not calling it anti-abortion because that implies that the pro-choice side is just being called pro-abortion, and I don't like that term. Now, the reason because, some people have responded saying that, we should just embrace pro-abortion. The reason that I'm not a fan of that term is not because I have any problem with abortion. I don't have a problem with abortion. I think it's a procedure that everyone should have the right to. But I think that by using the term pro-abortion instead of the term pro-choice, you're making it seem as if the only issue at stake here is just abortion. And to me, and again, I'm not saying I'm right or wrong on this because I understand the other perspective, but to me, pro-choice goes beyond just having the right to an abortion. Having the right to an abortion is a big part of it. Yes, that's the big elephant in the room. But being pro-choice, the way I see it, goes beyond that. Being pro-choice means that you believe in a healthcare system where a woman has access to quality prenatal care should she decide to have the child. Because when I say pro-choice, I mean you have a choice. I mean that if you want to get an abortion, that is your right. But if you want to have the baby, that's also your right. So when I say I'm pro-choice, I also want a society where better prenatal services are available, where there's better support for women who are facing this decision, where people facing an incredibly difficult decision are not going to be shamed, are not going to be put in a situation where a doctor needs to shame them. They tried to, well, they did. It passed. They did something like that in Tennessee, where they require doctors to show pictures of the ultrasound and describe it to a woman who's considering an abortion. That's harassment. Like you're requiring people to harass women or they lose their job. So to me, being pro-choice treads into all those categories too. So that's why I prefer pro-choice. And again, the reason I prefer that over pro-abortion is not because, I want to further the stigma about abortion. I don't want to do that. I just think that pro-choice is cast the wider net that is appropriate. That's my thought on the issue. But either way, anti-choice, and do not call it pro-life. Yeah. Do not call it pro-life. Schultze, Ron, I've been doing the exact same thing. Good man. I want everyone to start doing that. Pro-choice or anti-choice. I think that's the way to go. Tim, I refuse to let the fact that I have a dick. Oh, wait, I refuse to let the fact that I have a dick force anyone to make a lifelong decision they don't want. Period. Full stop. Amen to that. As a fellow dick holder, I agree with you. A fellow dick owner. Sometimes I hold it. It's mine. I do what I want. But as a fellow dick owner, dick born with guy, Dicks for Choice. That's got to be the new group we start. Let's see. Black Unigryphon says, remember, we the people have rights. Amen to that. Let's see. Guys gotta pee. Yes, we do. Anna says men are allowed to have an opinion. Absolutely. My opinion, pro-choice. Let's see. Zero Divisor, no more birth without consent. Totally. Loner Weirdo, you're right on this. The so-called pro-lifers are not interested in the life of the baby after it's out of the mother. Bill Hicks and George Carlin both have brilliant bits on that topic. That's why it's a tough topic to even do, because they just nailed it so much. Mystery dick holder, is he related to Eric? Schultze says, up with dicks. Love it. Love it. Moose Girl says, Julian probably needs some mental health help. I'd imagine facing the isolation he has faced and everything else he has faced. Yeah, probably. I'm sure he is in need of counseling. I think anybody in that situation would need help. Big time. I know I sure as hell would. Guys, we are totally out of time. Tour dates, I got them. You know the drill. RonPlacone.com for all tour dates. East Coast, I can't wait to see you. Get your tickets now. June 12th, D.C. June 13th, Baltimore. June 14th, 15th, Philly. June 16th, New Haven, Connecticut. June 17th, New York City. June 19th, Boston, Mass. RonPlacone.com for all those tickets. And July 27th, Vegas, baby. Progressive Comedy Tour is going back to Vegas. See you in Vegas on July 27th. If you want to support this show on the sustainability end, please do consider becoming a patron. For a Give What You Can level, you get all kinds of exclusive content. You help me get new equipment. You help me expand this stream. You help me do more streams. You help with the sustainability on this show. And you get all kinds of cool stuff. Special announcements before they're available to everyone else. That's patreon.com/Ron Placone. And you get my album. Kinda neat. Guys, thank you so much for being part of this. Please do like these videos, subscribe, share these videos. When you play all the videos, let it play on autoplay so all the ads play through. And don't just do that for me. Do that for all the content creators you know and love, because that helps sustain our channels. You guys are awesome. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same channel. This has been Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. Consider the news gotten. That doesn't even make sense. Lucy says meow. I say peace. Peace.